Hey there, welcome to Alyssa Jean's Star Wars Reviews. My name is Alyssa, and this is my 10 favorite droids in the Star Wars universe. So it's not so much a review as it is a list. I just really enjoy making lists, and I don't really care that nobody else watches these videos. It's just a lot of fun for me personally. So I have 3 of them. I've got this one on the droids, and you should also check out my videos on the top 10 Jedi and Star Wars villains. And I am drawing only from the films and the television shows, including all the animated shows. So none of the expanded universe, the comic books, and all of that crap. I like to pretend like it doesn't exist. So just the films and the shows. And when it comes to the shows, I'm going to avoid being too spoilery because I do know that there's a lot of people who haven't seen those shows yet, and I think you should eventually watch them. So I'm not going to spoil them too much. I'll just talk about the characters in a non-spoilery way. But when it comes to the films, I'm just going to spoil the hell out of them because I assume everyone has seen them. Okay, no more rambling. Let's get into it. Here are my 10 favorite droids in the Star Wars universe. At number 10, R5D4 from Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, the original film. This, of course, is the droid there on the right that Luke is tending to. So in the film, this is the droid that Luke originally tried to buy from the Jawas, and then smoke started coming out of it, and he goes, "Uncle Owen, I think this one has a bad motivator." And then C-3PO, of course, suggests that he buys R2-D2 instead, and the rest is history, as they say. So this droid was only in the film for like 30 seconds. The reason why it makes my list, well, partially because it was hard to come up with 10 droids, but also because of nostalgia, because though the droid itself only appeared in the film for a short period of time, in my imagination, with the Star Wars toys, R5D4 and R2D2 were the best of pals, and they went on incredible adventures together. Like, this was probably one of the first Star Wars toys that I got, and I played with it a lot. So in my mind, it was a much bigger character. And so it comes in at number 10 on my list. At number 9, L337 from Solo, A Star Wars Story. Now, I saw this film twice, and the first time that I saw it, I didn't really like this droid all that much. I thought it was kind of silly how she thought that Lando was in love with her. But upon watching it the second time, I grew to appreciate her a little bit more. It is kind of interesting that there's a droid who is fighting for droid rights, because you look at Star Trek, and there's all kinds of episodes about how androids are really sentient, or holograms are sentient, and all of this stuff, and asking philosophical questions. In the Star Wars universe, they're pretty subservient and nobody cares. So I thought that was an interesting twist. So it's not too bad. I mean, she makes it up to number 9 on my list. At number 8, IG-11 from Star Wars The Mandalorian. This is, of course, an IG unit, a bounty hunter droid, and this particular one is ruthless at the beginning of Season 1 of The Mandalorian and is determined to kill Grogu, but then it is later reprogrammed to be a nurse droid for Grogu, and it was a very interesting dynamic between this droid and our lead, the Mandalorian Din Djarin, because Din Djarin already had a distrust for droids, and he absolutely did not trust this droid with Grogu. But in the end, it kind of all works out, and I think it's a very good ending for this droid who sacrifices itself for Grogu and really turns things around for Din Djarin, who starts to look at droids in a different light. So it's a very good story for this particular bounty hunter unit. At number 7, Azi III from Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and Star Wars, The Bad Batch. Now, actually, this droid is named like something along the lines of Azi 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 2, 4, 5, 8. It's some long ass series of numbers. It's really ridiculous. But I've seen it usually referred to as Azi 3, so I will call him that as well. And this is a droid that works in the cloning facilities of Kamino. And he first appears in the Clone Wars in one of my favorite story arcs in the Clone Wars, which I cannot get into details here because I promise not to spoil anything, but it involves a clone named Fives who is trying to uncover a nefarious plot by the Republic and Kamino. And this droid is very reluctant and a nervous Nelly at first, but warms up to Fives and ends up helping him out, and then returns in the Bad Batch. And the same kind of thing, he ends up developing a bond with one of our main characters in the Bad Batch, the child clone Omega. And it is a really good dynamic, works really well, and he ends up having a heroic ending of Season 1 as well, just like IG-11, except that he should hopefully return in Season 2 of The Bad Batch, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing him continue to evolve. I think this droid has a very interesting character arc for a droid that is not ever reprogrammed. At number 6, K2SO from Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Why does his name sound like a radio station on the West Coast? You are listening to K2SO. Anyways, I digress. This is a droid who has a similar arc to number 8 on my list, IG-11, as it is a reprogrammed droid, but in this case, he is an Imperial droid who is reprogrammed to help the Rebels. And much like IG-11, one of our main characters does not trust him at all. In this case, it's Jyn Erso. And much like IG-11, he does make a sacrifice at the end. And I think his sacrifice is a little more heartwarming than IG-11's. And I actually like this droid a little better because it talks and it's funny. I think it has some very comical scenes in this film. A very underrated film. I rewatched it recently and I've really actually enjoyed this film quite a lot. And this droid is a big part of it. So he comes in at number 6 on my list of favorite droids. At number 5, AP5 from Star Wars Rebels. So much like number 7 on my list, Azi III, this droid does not need to be reprogrammed in order to have character development. He is an Imperial droid who isn't reprogrammed by the Rebels. He just decides he's tired of being treated like crap by the Empire and feels much more comfortable with the Rebels, which I think is very cool. This droid is very underrated and underused in my opinion. I have a feeling though that most people don't like him as much as I do, especially the writers at Star Wars Rebels, because they completely ignore him for the big 3 to 4 part finale of season 4. So I wish he was used more. I love this droid. I love how he's so snooty and sarcastic, and he's just like, oh, if that's how you're gonna do it, then oh, alright, well, okay. I think he's great. I love his humor. And I love his combination with Chopper and how they bicker with each other. Kind of the poor man's version of C-3PO and R2-D2. But I quite enjoy this droid, and I wish he appeared more in Rebels. At number 4, BB-8 from the sequel trilogy. And as I will say for pretty much every character that I put in any of these top 10s from the sequel trilogy, it's not their fault that the sequel sucked. Or not sucked so much as we're just completely disjointed and out of sync from each other. But BB-8, come on, it's a soccer ball droid. He's so friggin' cute. How could you not I love this droid. I actually really remember him most from The Force Awakens and how he interacts with Rey, which I thought was really great. I actually don't remember what he does in the other two films, if I'm being honest. But just from his appearance in The Force Awakens and the fact that he's a freaking cute ass little soccer ball, I have to have him on my list all the way up at number 4. At number 3, C3PO. I guess. I mean, this is a very nostalgia-powered ranking because, come on, he's C freaking 3PO. I mean, he's been a part of my childhood. There was the cartoon, there was the toys, and of course the original trilogy. R2-D2 and C3PO were the ultimate pair of droids. But to be honest, after a while I started getting sick of him. While his nervous Nelly nature was very comical and worked very well in the original trilogy, particularly in The Empire Strikes Back and how he interacted with Han Solo, I still love that to this day, but then he just kind of gets overused, turns into the replacement for Jar Jar Binks, basically, in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where he's used for slapstick comedy, and I really hate that. And then all of the rest of his appearances in the Clone Wars and his little one token appearance at Rebels, just kind of like, ooh, look at this, it's C-3PO, isn't that cool? And I'm just kind of over it. I actually praised The Bad Batch in my review for that show for not having to rely on a stupid C-3PO and R2-D2 cameo like all the other shows seem to do. So, though I am sick of him at this point, I actually have to still appreciate him in the original trilogy and what an impact these droids had, him and R2-D2 as a combo, had on my childhood. So he has to be up at least number 3. At number 2, Chopper from Star Wars Rebels. The only droid on this list who actually has a name and not just numbers. And maybe I like him more than other people. I don't know. I saw a YouTube video recently where someone called him annoying, and I was like, what? Chopper's not annoying. I love Chopper. Chopper's great. He has the most personality out of any droid in the Star Wars universe, other than the one who will come in at number 1. And just like that droid who will come in at number 1, who I'm sure you can guess by now who that is, Chopper also is able to express this huge personality without actually using spoken English words. He just goes, but just from those noises and the way that people interact with him, you know that he's a complainer. He likes to complain a lot. He's also a practical joker. I love how he laughs when he plays practical jokes. Like, I think that's fantastic. And yet, at the same time, this droid is a true friend and is extremely loyal to all of the characters in the Star Wars Rebels and would sacrifice his life for them. So a very well-developed character who never speaks in English words. So I don't know why anyone would find him annoying. I freaking love this droid. He is my second favorite droid on my list. At number 1, who else is it going to be but R2-D2? I mean, come on, how could it possibly be any other droid in the Star Wars universe? The droid with the big personality, like I said with Chopper, without having to speak any English words. And he's clever, he's heroic, he's loyal, and I love how he's a great foil for C-3PO, and he basically just ignores what C-3PO says and does whatever he wants. I freaking love this droid. The absolute classic droid in the Star Wars universe. I will say that they do overuse him a little bit as well. like they do with C3PO. I don't love all of his appearances in the Clone Wars. However, it doesn't annoy me nearly as much as C3PO does. I still always love this droid, and I even love him in the crappy prequels and the even crappier sequels. He really thrives on the big screen more than in animation. And for that, he absolutely has to be number one on my top 10 favorite droids list. Hey, thank you for watching my 10 favorite droids. Please check out my other top 10s on Star Wars villains and Jedi, as well as all of my stuff on Star Trek, the MCU, and everything else. I also do some videos related to my transition if you're interested in that sort of thing. So please subscribe, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.